And finally tonight, according to a U.S. military official, they expect to begin flying Burundi forces into the Central African Republic today to help stop the violence in that war-torn country. For more on the situation in Central Africa and especially in the Central African Republic, we have Abu Musa, representative of the General Secretary of the United Nations, joining us from our studio in Libreville, Gabon. Abu, thank you so much for making the time to join us. Perhaps before we get into the details of the conflict, what are the key tension points in Central Africa and particularly in the Central African Republic?
Well, thank you. First, since you are in South Africa, let me take the opportunity to present my condolences to the people of South Africa as well as the families. Now, coming to your question, the situation has gone from bad to worse. I hope it's going to be short-lived. This is a turning point with the arrival of the French troops to support the African troops. And as you know, the situation is also being compounded by the presence of the LRA, the Law Resistance Army, that are also causing havoc to the entire population. So we have reached a turning point, and we hope that with the arrival of the French troops to support the African troops and the new development, positive new development with the support of the US, the Europeans, we hope that the situation will soon fall practically under control.
It seems as if there's a little bit of debate about where exactly the divides are. There's some reportage saying that this is along religious lines. From where you sit, where do you see the key tension points be?
Well, the key changing point, where we stand, I think we should start from the current situation, which is moving from religious to ethnic. And I think the first thing is the stability. Stability is required. There must be security, and that's the changing point with the arrival of additional support to the African troops. We should start to see sharp, positive developments so that the people of Central African Republic can start to enjoy peace again. Based on that, a number of things need to happen. Elections, the issue of economic issues need to be addressed.
Let's look at the impact on the humanitarian population. How has this particular crisis impacted on the ground?
Oh, look, the current situation in Central Africa has got 2 or 3 important dimensions. There is the political dimension. Since your question is on humanitarian, it also has a humanitarian dimension whereby, because of the insecurity, the humanitarian workers cannot provide the minimum assistance to those who are in need. And not only inside Central African Republic, but also it has generated refugees and displaced persons in the neighboring countries. Now, talking about the economic dimension of it, reports have shown that 45% of the revenue of the government is lost into the hands of the unknown. Now, schools are closed for the past 9 months now. That's going to be a lost generation.
Let's look at the response by the international community. Of course, we're seeing support for African Union forces on the ground. From where you sit, do you think that the response has been adequate thus far?
Well, of course, the situation in Central Africa Republic requires multidimensional attention. And I think with what we had on the ground until recently, it wasn't enough. And as you know, the African Union is going to take over the operation as from the 19th of December with the support of the French troops and with the support of the US government providing logistics, the Germans, the Europeans. I think we are moving into the right direction.
Of course, at the tail end, everybody wants to see the country move towards a period where they can hold peaceful and fair elections. Do you think that one is being rather optimistic if they say that this is on the horizon?
Well, I think what is important is to have a target. There is a target that in 3 steps. First is a question of addressing the security based on a clear security, positive security situation. You can start to look at the economic issues, then you can start to look at the longer term perspective. Just as we had in Mali, we got rid of the activists, I mean the attackers. Then Mali went to election. I think it's in a similar pattern. We need to start looking at it. We have to disarm those who are creating problems to the population. And I think ultimately we should be able to move into the longer term perspective, which is organizing the election free and fair.